Hi everyone. Just in case you missed my Instagram live for you Facebookers who don't use Instagram, I wanted to jump on here briefly and talk about a study that I got and a campaign that I am working with Just Thrive Probiotics. I know you guys hear me talk about them all the time, and that's because when I'm passionate about something, I like to talk about it. And this is a brand that I fell in love with during my ShiftCon event last year. I love ShiftCon. If you guys aren't following them, make sure you stay tuned and you follow them. There's going to be a conference in October. You can check out their Facebook page and their social media pages to learn more about that. So one of the partnerships that came out of that event for me was the one with Just Thrive. At the time, I was seeking a good probiotic. I had felt deceit and a little heartbroken because one brand, who I will not name, sold to Nestle, and that sucked for me because it was like the only brand that I somewhat trusted within the whole scope of probiotics, just because I know that there's a gastric barrier, and most marketing that you're getting on probiotics out there right now aren't exactly doing what they're claiming they do. So I went to ShiftCon not expecting to find a probiotic company. And when I first came across Just Thrive, I was like, a probiotic that doesn't need refrigeration? Yeah, right, that's not gonna work. So just because I didn't know about it. Then I heard Kieran speak during his keynote at lunchtime. And he broke it all down, and he broke the science. And of course, me being the science geek that I am, I was like, whoa, I need to talk to him. So I made it a point to go talk to him and just learn more. And throughout the time, I've established a partnership with the company. I'm a brand ambassador for them just because I do believe in the product. They are the type of company that they're not out there spending money on a ton of marketing and not studies. They rather spend the money on studies and making sure that they're giving the consumer what they say is on this box, which a lot of companies don't do. There are several brands out there that are not, you're wasting your money. I was one of those consumers. I can't tell you, I've tried every brand of probiotics, and it's sad to know now what I know, that how much money I threw down the drain, but you live and you learn, right? So getting back to it, this particular study tested two yogurts and a probiotic that's very popular on the market for survivability through the gastric barrier. So when you buy a probiotic, the first thing that I recommend as a health coach to my clients is, do you know if they've done any survivability studies on the pH level of a 1.3 or lower? No. Most companies don't do that, and most people don't ask that because you hear the hype and you're like, oh yeah, probiotics are good for you, and for the most part they're not really doing anything, and you need the bacteria to colonize your gut alive. If it's dead, it's just yucky. What's the point of having dead bacteria in your gut? So that's not going to work for me, and I'm thankful that I've been I'm involved with this and I'm able to learn about it. Another thing that I was mentioning, it has to be at a pH level of a 1.3 or lower. That is the pharmacopoeia standard for gastric survivability. So if your probiotic is not being tested for that level, you are wasting your money. That's just the truth, and you guys know I'm blunt. So yes, hi Silly, I love you. So yeah, so that's a big thing, and a lot of things too that you see with probiotics in the market. And even for me at one point, I thought like, ooh, the more strands, like 50 billion, 10 billion, the more strands, the more diversity, the bigger of a chance that it reaches the stomach. That doesn't really mean anything, because you can test, and out of all those strands, probably one or two will make it. So it's pointless. Hi Jessica, thanks for tuning in. I'm talking about probiotics and the pretension that there's out there in the market. A lot of brands are talking about probiotics that don't have what they say they have in the bottle, It's become such a trend and we're sick of it. So getting back to it, so we thought that the more billion CFUSs at a time when manufacturing, the more chance of survival. Like I was mentioning earlier, that's not entirely true. Our gastric barrier is very, very acidic. I mean, for something to make it through there is just, it's hard. It has to have a spore, and that's what makes Just Thrive so different. So another thing is that, and for a point, we thought that, you know, our body was mostly composed, like our genes to handle everything, and that's not entirely true. You know, now we're starting to see with science that yes, we are a very complex system, but there's a lot more spotlight with the gut, with gut health. Gut health has become an in thing, and that's where brands who are unethical just go out there and jump in the bandwagon and start creating products and adding stuff in products that may or may not work. I mean, they may or may not do testing. They may or may not have the right strand of probiotics, but I'm going to share with you guys the one study that I was mentioning in a minute. So before I get to that, we talk about the more strands the probiotic, the more chance of survivability, right? That's what we all thought. And I even thought that. And I used to spend money, like just spend $60, $70. Hola, Carmen. Hola, Ruth. Hola, Jamie. I used to spend a lot of money and time and just researching and hoping that, oh my God, the more strands in the probiotic, the better it would be. So you're exposing yourself to something that may or may not have testing. And then you're also exposing yourself to extra ingredients for something that may or may not work. So let's get back to that. Hola, Jessica. Maltodextrin, skim milk powder. There's just a lot, like there's even sugar in some probiotics. Imagine as parents, you're buying a probiotic thinking like, oh yeah, I'm doing something good for my kid, I'm helping him, and then boom, there's sugar. We all know that overuse of sugar is just not good, and it creates candida, and that just creates imbalances in the gut. So everything's moderation. So getting back, I'm gonna get to the study now, and I'm gonna tell you guys all about the study I got my hands on. It's absolutely amazing. I work directly with Thrive. I'm a brand ambassador for them. And the reason why I became a brand ambassador, as I was mentioning earlier, was when I went to ShiftCon last year, I went looking for a probiotics brand because the one brand that I had sold out to Nestle, and Nestle is not a company I support. They're very unethical, and the slavery of children in Africa is just not something that I would support. I'd rather support American-made stuff anyway. So make a long story short, I was using this particular company. It was us out of South Florida, and then they sold to Nestle. So I was left probiotic-less. I was just finding myself doing a lot of ferments, you know, things that I normally do, but it's hard for me to get the kids to drink. I mean, they'll drink some kombuchas and some kefirs, some flavors, but they're not gonna eat kimchi and fermented foods. They're not there yet, and that's okay. Everything comes with time. So the study tested the probiotic that I've been recommending, and you guys hear me talk about all the time, Just Thrive. They tested Just Thrive, they tested Chobani yogurt, and they also tested Dannon yogurt and Ultima Flora. That's a very popular one that you see a lot on the market. I've even purchased it in the past myself. And it's not cheap. That probiotic's like $55 a bottle. So they went ahead and they tested all these products in a pH level of 1.2, which is similar to the pH level in our stomach. That's what I was mentioning earlier. The pH levels are usually between a 1.3 to a 3, and a 3 is at the lower end of the stomach. And the idea is when you take a probiotic, you want something to make it through the gastric barrier and get all the way to the colon. In the colon is where everything happens, and that's where you need your strands. That's where you need your bacteria. So here we are taking probiotics, buying probiotics with fillers, you know, with capsules that make it harder on your digestive system that aren't working. So this study found that none of those three made it. And the only one that made it was Just Thrive. So as you can see those numbers here, and I'll email this to anybody that wants to see it, it shows that Ultimate Flora decreased in half. And that's just in that area. So once it starts going down, imagine how much more bacteria is dying before it gets towards where it's supposed to be. That is one of the most popular probiotics in the market. And it's mind-blowing that, you know, this is happening. So this is the most recent study that I've gotten my hands on here. It's crazy, and it's a probiotic that, it's a study that was done for the companies, the owners of Thrive, Just Thrive, because they don't, and I'm not talking Thrive, the patches, guys, please don't confuse it. But Just Thrive, just because they don't spend the money on marketing. They rather work with influencers and professionals and people like me who believe in the brand, who do their homework, who know what they're talking about. People who have the best interests, not just for themselves and their family, but for the consumers. I dislike greenwashing. I hate that there's so many people, so many brands out there. I'm all for business, but there has to be ethics somewhere. Yes, I got you. Anybody else that wants a copy, and I'm gonna put this in a detailed post as well on my blog, so make sure you guys are subscribing. There's gonna be a lot of information. I'm also gonna have Kieran, the microbiologist for Just Thrive, on live. He and I were supposed to do this time last year, but things happened with hubby, so I'm just slowly doing all my stuff that I had scheduled. This company is just great. I want you guys to research more about it. I'm going to talk about another study that was done, and this study was actually done by Reading University in England, and the FSA there, which is like our FDA, went ahead and tested 35 of the most common strands that you find in the probiotics in the market. Not just in England, but here. Those are the most common that you find. And out of those 35, they found that, you know, only 4 made it to the colon. Only 4 of those 35 probiotic strands. And at the end, didn't make it through the colon. Only 1. Only 4 made it halfway, and only 1 made it all the way to the colon. So think about that. That is 35 strands, and that just goes to show you that the more strands don't mean anything. You're putting more stuff in your body. I mean, think about it. At the end, it's just going to be dead bacteria, and then your body just has to throw out more waste. And, you know, we're trying to minimize the burden level in your body, not increase it. And then on top of that, like I was explaining earlier, with the additives and the sugar and the maltodextrin, like those are ingredients that, especially as parents, like I don't want to give my children that. I'm all for balance, and if my kids are out, yes, I'm not going to be the mom that's like, no, you can't have pizza and ice cream. I'm not like that. I believe in balance, but when it comes to my supplements and the things that I give my children, I do extensive research on. So getting back to this study, they did that, and that just goes to show that, you know, only 1 survived out of 35. So that it's a waste of money if you really want to get to the root of it. Probiotics are very important because we, you know, like I was explaining earlier, only 1% of what happens in our body is coded by our genes, and 99% is coded by the bacterial genes, which means that 99% of our metabolic function comes from bacteria. We are just like big walking bacteria balls. And you know, like if back then, like people would say like, oh yeah, like genetic this, genetic that, and it's still a difference of genetics. But you know, if you think about the genetic breakdown, we are no different genetically. Like let's say a rice plant has 48,000 genes. We have 22,000 genes, yet we are a lot more complex and available than a rice plant. So that just goes to show you. But then the microbial breakdown is completely different. Another study tested 16 children's probiotics, and this study was actually done here in America, and it was done by the University of California together. Hang on, where did my paper go? Bear with me a second. So while I'm waiting for this paper, does anyone have a question? Oh, there it is. Excuse me. Okay, so this study, and go ahead and put in your questions, and if you wanted copies and stuff like that, I'll put your email and I'll write everything. I'll send you everything. I'll send you a quick breakdown. I'm gonna do a better post and a better video for the YouTube channel, but I just wanted to randomly come live on here today because I have time and it's lunchtime, and I know a lot of you are probably scrolling on Facebook, so I figure I'd teach you something new. But this Journal of Nature, if you're not in, if you don't know who the Journal of Nature is, if you've done anything with science, I see my friend Shauna's here. Her and I went to OT school together. It's like once you publish there, you're a big deal. It's a really, really big deal. And hola, hi lady, hi Michelle, hi Jessica, hola tia, my aunt's on. This particular study was done in 2015 by the University of California together with the Journal of Nature, and they studied 16 kids probiotics, 16 of the brands that you see the most common probiotics in the market. They wanted to see if the strains matched the claims on their labels, and out of the 16, only one matched. Some bottles even had pill-to-pill variation, which means that there's some strands in this pill, there's some strands in that pill, and there's a whole mix of like different strands, and they're not matching what their label is saying. So this is just goes to show you that you can't just trust the probiotic because of their marketing. You know, make sure that you, like I mentioned earlier, a good question to ask is if they've had any testing done, if they've been studied at a pH level of 1.3 or lower. If that's the pharmacopoeia standard of gastric survivability. So if your probiotic has not been tested for that, dump it. Don't waste your money. Stick to eating fermented foods. If you go to my website, I did a post. It's a series of Love Your Gut. And I talk about a lot of the things that you can do yourself at home. It's probably cheaper and it's better. I take the probiotic because I love the brand, and I find it's easier for me to give it to the kids than to get them to eat kimchi or certain fermented things. They like kombucha, but I can't give them too much kombucha because of the caffeine. They like kefir, but I'm not always here to make kefir right now. I'm super busy, so if you're looking for convenience and survivability chances, and a probiotic that's actually gonna do what it's designed to do, I highly recommend Thrive. What I love about the brand is that they are the first brand made out of a spore. So what a spore is it's kind of like a covering around the probiotic. So when it goes through your gastric barrier, it's actually going to make it all the way through. And they have plenty of testings on their websites of studies that show, like, and it's third-party testings. You know, they spend the money on the science. The person that designed it is a microbiologist, and he's been in the supplement and enzyme world for over 20 years. So he has a ton of experience. And the idea is that when this probiotic gets to where it needs to be, it's alive, not dead. What else? Another good thing about Just Thrive is that their gut model study shows that there's a 30% favorable shift in the microbiome within a 2-week period. And what makes this probiotic good is the similarity that it has. The first time that kids are exposed to probiotics is through the birth canal. They go ahead and take the flora from the mom's vagina. So passing through the birth canal. And there's even some science that shows that through the bloodstream while a woman's pregnant, the body somehow sends some microbiome into the placenta and everywhere else where the baby is, so the baby starts getting used to the bacteria. What else do I want to say? So I shared why I like this brand. If you guys are just jumping on, I was discussing how, you know, there's so much pretension out there and there's just too many brands not doing the right thing by the consumer. They're just jumping on the bandwagon, like I like to say, just selling something because they see that there's a market for it. And that's why I became a ShiftCon shifter, and that's why I made it a point to just work strictly with brands who have the same values and the same ethics as I do, and they just don't have the consumer in mind. And it's not about making money. Yes, money is great. We all need money. But it's about doing the right thing by people and putting information, things that are actually helping people. I couldn't sleep at night if I was selling something that I know wasn't what I'm saying I'm selling. I would feel like such a fake. So yeah, so there's, like I said, there's a lot of pretend probiotics out there, and most of us are throwing our money away. And, you know, we're just very, very sick of it with this company, and I'm glad to be part of this mission. And if there's any questions that you guys have, just go ahead and type them in there, or you can always send me a DM. I'm going to be emailing some people some stuff. So if you have any questions right now while I'm here, feel free to just type them. For those of you who missed it, I'm going to put a post together and talk about the brands. These were some of the brands that were studied. Ultimate Flora, Dannon, and Chobani Yogurt. There's just a lot of cool things, a lot of information. It's good to know. I recommend that you learn how your gut system works, learn your digestive system, learn what affects it. You know, there's always over 1,000 different microbial species that live in our gut, and our gut controls a lot. Now you hear a lot of the gut-brain axis connection, and there's like all these names for, you know, and trends and diets and things like that that are supposed to be helpful. And it just, we're all individual, you know, no two people are the same. Even if you're twins, even twins have several different microbiome. So like no individuals have the same microbiome. Everything's different. And like I mentioned earlier, if the microbiome in your body, which is 3.3 million microbial genes, it accounts for 99% of our metabolic function. So it's important to take care of your gut, take care of your flora, know what you're eating, know what you're, you know, taking, learn your body, and work with people who can help you, and make sure that the best thing is just educate yourself for you and your family. I can sit here and preach this all day to you, but until you don't really see it with your own eyes and until you don't really research it, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm gonna drop the links on there. I'm gonna talk about Just Thrive, why it's, you know, like I mentioned earlier, there's no binders, no fillers, no allergens, there's non-GMO, it's no dairy, no wheat, no gluten, no soy, no artificial colors, no flavors. It helps aid digestion, supports a healthy bowel, 100% chances, 100% survivability, and it powerful immune support in the intestines, where 70% of your immune system exists. So that's another thing that we've been learning a lot. There are no weird additive ingredients in it. It's very clean, which is something that I look for. I'll drop the link on the comments so you guys can learn more about it. It also has antioxidant properties to it, so it helps your body. Yes, Shauna, I got you. I'll email you. And I'm also gonna go ahead, guys, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. There's a lot. I'm gonna have Kieran on here too, and he'll be able to really, really break it down to the science better than I can. I mean, I know it, but it's different. It's a little harder for me to say all the scientific names with my accent. I try. But what else? That's really it. You know, just make sure that you're aware. Make sure that you, like I mentioned earlier, you have a company that has done a study where they test the pH level of your probiotics. Don't fall for the hype. Our bacteria is highly important. Soap and water does just fine. No need for antibacterial stuff, really. I also like to do a blend of like lavender and like coconut oil and things like that, or tea tree or something like that for myself if I'm exposing myself to a client or patients, or like Shauna, for you at work with patients. There's really no need to kill your flora, and we have microbiomes in our skin. I mean, they're everywhere. So the idea is just to help balance it out, take a supplement that's good for you and good for your family, and you're not spending $40, $60, $70 on a probiotic that is not working. And that's what we are here to stop. This is not an MLM company. I am a brand ambassador for them. I work with them because I really believe in them, because I take them, my kids take them, And yes, I do get a lot of my excuse me, probiotics from foods, and I try to incorporate a lot of fermented stuff, and I make my own kombucha. I do all those things that I know help. But at the end of the day, just knowing that this spore it survives and it gets to the colon, it's huge for me. I mean, I suffered from really, really bad anxiety for a long time in my life, and with the combination of eating better, you know, healing my gut, practicing mindfulness, working out, meditating, prayer, whichever way works for you, all of those things combined really made a difference in my life. And even right now, where I'm going through like such a rough time, I'm still keeping it together. And yes, I'm human. I lose my shit sometimes. From New York. But I for the most part, I'm focused and I'm aligned, and that's what's important. And it all comes from your gut. We are all, it's a one thing. It's inside, outside, and mind, body, soul connection, and that's what I preach. Please follow my website, subscribe to my newsletter. I'm gonna be notifying when Kieran's coming on, and we're gonna be giving away some Thrive. If you guys are hesitant to buy it, you know, we will give some away, and you guys can just try it. They're the only ones that show, like I mentioned earlier, in their gut model study that they have a 30% favorable shift in the microbiome within 2 weeks. So within 2 weeks, it's designed to change your microbiome. And it's, oh yeah. Yeah, but I think my energy right now, my levels aren't, Shauna just asked me, what about my energy? My energy is not, could be better. And I think the reason is because I'm handling everything on my own right now, plus building a business, plus I'm not sleeping. So I'm up to like 3, you know, after my kids go to bed and I want to get something done for the business or for myself, I go to bed pretty late. And then sometimes I just need some me time. And then I wake up extra early just because I like to do my sun salutations, and I have my little morning routine where I journal. And so I'm not necessarily getting the best sleep, and that's why I feel my energy levels aren't where they're supposed to be. But when Ross was here, absolutely. I mean, I'm go-go. I've always been go-go-go, though. That's just me. I'm a big ball of energy, and that's why I have to stay active. But you can also check your adrenals and stuff, so make sure your adrenals aren't getting shot or whatever. Just go ahead and send me a message, and we can talk more about that. I can help you out with that. It can be several things that are affecting your energy. But yeah, the gut, like I was mentioning, the gut helps with everything. So it might be that. We'll just have to talk and see more about what your diet is, how you eat, your resting time, that kind of stuff. Does that answer your question? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, slowly getting more comfortable. I have a lot of topics. I should have done this a long time ago. I have a ton of content to bring out to you guys, and it's happening slowly but surely. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send everything to you, Shauna and Carmen, and whoever else wants it, DM me your email, and I'll take care of it, and I'll send you everything, and make sure you follow the website. It's all bad. It's all good, girls. We can reset that. She's saying that you're so silly. We all eat bad sometimes. I have my moments. We're human. It's just a matter of finding that balance. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and put everything. There's a lot of stuff that I'm working on. A lot of companies I'm partnered with now, and like I mentioned earlier, to me it's about integrity. It's, yes, I love money and I need money, and who doesn't? But I'm doing things the right way, and I know that when sometimes God delays a plan for you, it's because he has a lot of better things in store, and I'm starting to see that. For a while I was like, oh, why can't I do the things I want to do? Like, you know, but it's very difficult to juggle being a full-time mom, stay-home mom, cooking 3 meals a day. Yes, Shauna, my numbers should be the same. Taking care of myself, taking care of others, dealing with a 17-year-old that's like going on 5, and you know, a husband not being around. There's just a lot. There's a lot, but you know, we're strong. We got this. That's what we're made for this. And this is my absolute passion. And I truly believe that if God was delaying everything was for a plan, and I'm starting to see it. Like I said earlier, I'm grateful that all these companies, I've partnered up with all these companies. If any of you guys want to learn more about wellness and things like that, follow my blog. And if you're considering, you know, becoming a blogger, or if you want to like just really be part of the change, follow ShiftCon. Come to the conference in October. I'll drop that link on there too. There's different price options. There's different workshops as well. There are some workshops that are for just learning health and wellness, if you want to learn about food, if you want to learn about ingredients. But then there are also workshops that are for bloggers and people who are just trying to grow their blog and learning how to manage, how to blog and how to do that stuff. So it's a really, really cool concept. I love it. I'm happy I found my little blogger tribe. I went there as a health coach. I never even went there as a blogger. I never thought I would call myself a blogger, but yes, that's my career now. I'm an influencer, and I use everything that I've learned with my education and all my research and the lifestyle, and it's just a combination of everything. So make sure you guys stay tuned. A lot of cool things coming, a lot of cool giveaways. Follow my group, Robust and Mindful Living. Hi, Natalia. Hi, Tia. My other aunts on. I love it. They live in other parts of the world. But, yeah, a lot of cool things. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow. I'll put the website, and you guys can read more about it. Don't take my word for it. Like I said, I don't really work with MLMs. Only when I work with this Crunchy, and that's because I love their foundation. And I sell what I love, and I put what I love. And if my family or I don't use it, you know, I've done extensive research on it, and it might be beneficial for a specific person or a specific condition or whatever the case is. I'm not a doctor, so make sure you always talk to your physician before taking anything. But yeah, there goes the disclosure. This is a sponsored post by Just Thrive. Like I mentioned earlier, I am a partner with them, but I do take them. I will be giving a giveaway, and I want you guys to try them if you're hesitant. And when I have Kieran on here, he'll be able to answer more questions. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and follow along. Robust and Mindful Living Group, Robust Wholeness Facebook page, robustwholeness.com is the website. You can subscribe to my newsletter there, and my Instagram. If you're looking for ideas for cooking or whatever, or stuff to do with the kids, you guys know I'm very active, and I show my real life. And it works for me. I'm showing who I am, and people like it, brands like it, and why not do it, right? So follow along. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hi, Kimberly. I'm getting ready to turn out, but you guys can go ahead and catch the replay and learn more about everything that I showed. I talked about 3 different studies. I'm putting together a full post on it to go on the website, and I will also be sharing it on YouTube. So go ahead and you can catch it there. Have a good day. I'll talk to you guys later. Email me any questions. If you have any questions, inbox me or email me at info@robustwholeness.com, and I'll be able to answer any questions that you guys have. You guys know that this is my absolute passion. It's not just a business for me. It's beautiful when you can do what you love. For the first time in my life, I feel good doing something. And it's just not with Thrive, it's just with all the brands that I work with all around. I've partnered up with over 30 brands now, and I can't wait to share them all with you. Have a wonderful day.